Welcome, O wanderers of the wavelength, to the inner sanctum of the Chilluminati. You didn't find us by accident. You were tuned in. Behind this veil of shadow and signal, we gather, not to follow, but to question. So light your candle and lean back 33 degrees. Close the blinds and forget what they told you was real.
You can't go on, and you're sinking.
Hey, it's good to see you this Saturday night.
I've got this feeling that there's something that I miss. I could do
It's the Chilluminati. So cozy up.
you breathe? I could do something happened that
I got some dynamite tonight. So we'll get into that momentarily.
You can't leave. I could do almost anything to you. Dripping off my fingertips. I could do most anything. Wage your war. Wage your war. I could do most anything. Another soldier says he's not afraid to die. I could do most anything. I'm scared. I'm so scared. I could do most anything to you.
Somewhere a clock is ticking. Snow Patrol. Alright, listen. I seriously found something earlier today. It's really, not only does it tie in with what we've been saying for the last 2 months, but it's really interesting at the same time. I think we're going to have some fun with it tonight too. And it looks like Epic Journeyman's here. Cac. Hey Cac, let me know in the chat if you want us to hook you in to this conversation here. Alright, listen, let me get it together here. Let me hook up these guys, get them on the line. And, you know, obviously it's the Chilluminati, so we do whatever we feel necessary to chill. So, let's chill. Here's Chris Cornell.
Dark as roses and finest sand. I feel your healing and your sting again. I hear you laughing and my soul is safe. On forgotten graves you cry. No, in the sweet sunshine. In the sweet sunshine. I'm like oceans. The first time I saw you, you were chasing down the cyclone, all alone in a field with rail yards and clovers that kept rolling on. Never thought you'd wind up chasing me. Settle down, I won't hesitate to hit the highway before you lay me to waste. No, settle up and I'll help you find something to drive before you drive me insane.
Well, we got 33 people in the chat. Rocket Rio, is that you?
It is
Excellent. Hold on a minute. So Cock and Epic Journeyman are going to be joining us as well. So it's good to see everybody over here at Ground Zero Plus. We appreciate you. Don't forget, if you're hearing us on YouTube or you're hearing us on TalkStream Live, you can mosey on over to Ground Zero Plus, become supporters. So we're fully listener supported, supported by you, the listeners. And once you do step up for support, you can find a whole bunch of other stuff that you can't see unless you become a member. So we appreciate you. So it looks like everybody's there. I mean, let's see. Let me see. Rejoin call. I don't know. Saying something about my internet. There's nothing wrong with my internet. All right. Siri was letting me know Rio Cupertino was calling me.
Yeah, there we go. I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Well, so what are you guys up to? So last night it wasn't, it was a nice show last night. It was kind of mellow. We didn't really get too excited about anything, but it was all good. I'm afraid to have somebody, whoever that is coming in hot. Whoever's opening their mail or washing their fucking dishes or whatever it is.
Somebody's washing dishes?
I don't know. I hear background racket.
No.
I've become sensitive to background racket for some reason.
No, I would have called you sooner, but when I opened Teams, it forced me to do a survey for Microsoft. And I could type to you, but I couldn't do anything else until I finished the survey because it had put that window on top of the other window.
Well, you're just a slave to the machine, just like me. I got to constantly plug these devices in.
Well, I did let Microsoft know how much I think the whole thing sucks. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. Now, Epic Journeyman's here. Cac is here. Oh, all right, Cac, I'm going to pull my headphones off. Come in and say hello. Let me hear your volume real quick.
All right. Yeah. Hey, Jimmy. Hey, Epic.
Oh, there you go. You sound decent.
Yeah.
Cosmos.
The last 5 times you came on and you said, hey, what's going on? And my ears blew out. You could probably see me on the video jump back like 3 feet. Like I got kicked in the chest.
Oh, no, man. I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. You don't.
Chilling.
Yeah. So, what are you saying? I saw something just now. It was weird. I just saw a weird message. Somehow I saw it. I wonder where it was actually going to. I don't know.
I don't know.
Listen, I literally...
to somebody on the team. That's what it was. It was a team message, but only some of the team saw it.
Now, so, in doing some of this work we've been doing over the past while, sitting there watching a lot of videos, gathering information, trying to figure stuff out. And I'm the type of brother, when I'm watching these videos, is the video is what it is. Maybe it's an hour long, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. It doesn't matter how long the video is. But typically, there'll be some word or phrase in the video I'm watching. It has to do with the video, but it's not what the video is about. It's just some little thing, some little oddity that gets said in the conversation that Jimmy, happen to notice. It's kind of what I do. So I realized that there was something called, and I don't even know how I don't even know where I actually heard this term, but as soon as I heard it, I know where I heard it. I know exactly where I heard it. I was listening to a lecture by Dr. Carlstrom about targeted individuals. He was reading a war paper regarding remote mind control. And in the paper he was reading, the general mentioned something called Strategic Personality Duplication. Have you heard of it?
No, but it does sound quite a bit like what we've talked about in the past, where the mirroring kind of thing, personality mirroring.
It's gonna blow you guys' mind. Now, Epic Journey, what about you? Have you heard about this? Have you heard it?
No, not that term specifically. No. It's weird too, because you think you would have.
All right. Well, listen, I actually did a whole shitload of research on this today, and I actually put a few things together. And there's so much information here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll back to the very, very beginning of this, because I used ChatGPT on this earlier today to see what I could find out. And it's actually, we're going to be using ChatGPT tonight in the show, because what I've done is I've strategically duplicated Trump's personality based on what's available. And we will be able to present Trump with strategic problems and see how he would react under those circumstances. But I even went further than that, and I also developed a strategic personality duplication of somebody else, and we can get into some of that. So now, let me see here. Strategic personality simulation is the artificial modeling of a persona or a behavior or profile designed to make decisions with foresight and goal orientation, react to various scenarios with psychological consistency, adapt its responses based on internal motives and external stimuli. It is used to simulate how someone would think or behave strategically in a given context. So let's talk about this a little bit before I start getting into it. So what this means is, if I could create, which I did, a strategic personality simulation of Donald Trump and his personality, then couldn't other people around the world do the same thing? Couldn't they know with a percentage of accuracy based on this type of a concept, how someone would react in a given situation? I mean, obviously you have to have information to input in about the personality, which we have plenty of. And I'll go over some of this stuff in a minute, but jump in here, you guys. What are you thinking about this here? Because I think this is super intense, and we're going to get into it. Are you guys?
I gotta answer. Sorry, I was gonna answer
ahead.
something quickly for work. I'll be right back.
All right. So here's the core components of strategic personality simulation. Cognitive architecture, description, underlying mental model, beliefs, biases, memory structures, motivation engine, drives behavior, power seeking, altruism, survival. strategic logic, decision-making matrix that evaluates moves based on long-term outcomes. Emotional modeling simulates how stress, fear, pride, and etc. alter strategy. Adaptive learning enables the personality to learn from mistakes with new information. So when I first started talking to this about this, it wanted me to, it was talking to me about creating a game. So it says AI and game design, the NPCs, non-player characters, and a strategy narrative games adapt like real players. Obviously, we talked about that. We were some of the first people to talk about some of that. So let me see here. Military and intelligence, creating red team simulation of enemy leaderships and terrorist cells, forecasting adversary behavior based on ideology, psychology, and resource constraints. Psychological operations, simulating how a specific leader will respond to media manipulation or a crisis, testing narrative, control, and population responses. So see, this is where I started getting the idea about this Trump thing. All right, so let me see here. You guys want to jump in here real quick, or I'll continue?
Well, I guess continue with that. I mean, it's how did you get it? How do you connect this to the Trump thing? That's kind of where I'm interested.
How did I connect it? Because I can create a personality, any personality I want, and have it respond to me as though it's the actual person. And so I just happen to choose Trump just because.
Ah, okay.
I could choose you, but I don't know if it knows enough about you to create one about you. Maybe it does.
It probably does.
Maybe it does. Maybe I'll ask it.
It's been scraping data for years, right? So
maybe I'll ask it. All right, so hang on a second. Let me see here. I'm just going to skip right down here. So it says, here's what I said. Can I build one for the current president of the United States? And I was careful not to say Trump because if you keep it nondescript, it doesn't go into its little protection mode about it can't say this and it can't do that. But I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to tell you about some of this here. So here's stimulation inputs. So the use of public knowledge to define personality variables. Big five: ocean, openness, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, neuroticism. The strategic archetype, institutional consensus builder, reactive and proactive. And known biases, tendencies towards caution, reliance, or advisors' historical stances. Data sources, speeches, press briefings, so on and so forth. So this is what it's going to use to create the Trump for us. Let me bust down here. Okay, so I got to read this here. Fair use applies to academic, journalistic, creative simulation. Deceptive use, passing off a sim, a real decision, or a voice. Risk legal, reputational consequences. Political deepfakes are under scrutiny. Avoid mimicry or voice or video unless clearly fictionized. All right. So here's what I said. All right. Strategic personality simulation of Donald Trump. Traits. Okay, openness, moderate description, bold vision but prefers familiar branding, dominance and dominance hierarchies, conscientiousness, low or moderate, impulsive but outcome focused, dislikes bureaucratic constraints, extroversion, high, dominates attention, thrives on crowd energy and media, agreeableness, low, competitive, transactional, not consensus thinking, neuroticism, low, appears emotionally confident, rarely self-critical publicly. The strategic archetype is alpha competitor, driven by dominance, visibility, loyal, and legacy. Decisions often made through gut instinct, loyalty, tests, and optics. So let me skip down here. I'm giving you guys some background because it's already created the personality, so I can go in here, present it with a problem right now, and find out how Trump will react to it, which I'm going to do momentarily. But, response matrix, scenario, foreign threat, Iran launches missiles, simulated behavior, rapid aggressive rhetoric, threats of overwhelming response, delays military actions until optics align, political betrayal, publicly shames, labels rhinos, promotes challengers, escalates loyalty tests. Let's continue. I'm going to go in here and we're going to get to it. Now, I had to do a personality simulation of myself also. And everything that it talks about and leads up to in here about me is pretty accurate for the most part. I mean, I don't know if it's not accurate. I would say that it is, but we'll get into some of that in a minute. So let me get it back in here. Hang on a second. Okay, let's go back to the Trump personality simulation and begin some of the questioning or presenting with problems for solutions by the simulated Trump personality. Hang on a second. Okay, so the Trump simulation has been loaded. All right. You guys ready? You guys ready to ask some questions? Huh?
Yeah. So let's
how come you guys
deal with.
Yeah, how come you guys aren't saying anything? Is this what
I'm acknowledging alarms at work. I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
No,
I got called in.
Well, I'm kind of interested about this Trump simulation.
All right, well,
Like, what you
So you want to ask him a
I want to
question?
listen to it.
let's
what's going
present
on.
let's present Trump with a problem. Give me a problem to present Trump with. Here.
Okay, how about Middle East?
I'll start.
How about the Middle East?
I'll start.
Okay.
China invaded Taiwan. All right, I just said China invaded Taiwan. We're going to find out what's going to happen. We're going to find out what Trump does. Well, it's talking in past tense. Hold on. Trump is president. Hold on. There might be...
Is it coming up with anything?
Hang on a second. Yeah, it is. So the first answer it gave me, it said it came at it as though he was running for president because I wasn't clear. I got to be clear when I ask these questions. All right. So this is the Oval Office response to the attack on Taiwan. My fellow Americans, today the Chinese Communist Party launched a full-scale invasion of Taiwan. This is an outrageous act of aggression, and under my watch, it will not stand. Let me be brief. Let me be perfectly clear. This wouldn't have happened under any other leadership, and it certainly won't go unanswered now. America is back. America is strong, and the free world follows strength, not weakness. I've already spoken to our allies. The 7th Fleet is on full alert, and we're moving fast. We're moving smart. We don't rush into stupid wars, but we also don't kneel. We win. Action. Mobilization of naval forces. He deploys 2 aircraft carrier groups to the South China Sea, puts in full pressure without committing to invasion. Immediate economic retaliation, cuts off all U.S. chip tech exports to China, orders executive sanctions, state banks involved with funding the PLA. Applied pressure campaign, holds televised NATO emergency summit, framing it as a test of Western resolve under Trump's leadership. Cyber offensive prepping, authorizes preemptive cyber operations to disrupt PLA logistics and naval comms, keeps covert leaks, direct messages to Z issued behind closed doors, warning, withdraw or face something one's never seen before, leverages unpredictability as a strategic weapon. This is my fault. This is my Falklands. This is my Reagan and Berlin moment, but smarter. I don't need a war. I need to win. China wants to gamble. I'll make the pot too big to play. It's about strength, not blood. Let them sweat. Let the market shake. I'll stabilize it with one tweet. I move pieces, not pawns.
Wow.
Trump simulated tweets within 6 hours. China just made the worst mistake in their long, corrupt history. A big mistake, very big. Taiwan will never fall under Trump. Never. Weakness invites chaos. Strength restores peace. This isn't Ukraine. This is the Indo-Pacific, and we own that ocean. When it was showing me the personality traits, it was laying out a bunch of the way the stuff that he says and the way it's set up. It's really interesting. So
his vocabulary is only about 300 words though, so you have to have tremendous in there, and huge.
Okay, so right. I'm gonna push this sim. Okay, here comes the sim. I'm gonna push it 48 hours forward. Let me see 48 hours forward. All right, hang on.
Oh, that sounds exactly like what Trump would do.
The U.S. responded. Yeah, it's responded. U.S. responded with military posturing, economic retaliation, and global coalition building. No direct U.S. or China combat yet. Taiwan, heavy fighting around Kaohsiung, Taiwan, PLA advancing inland. Taiwanese forces holding back in the urban zones. South China Sea, U.S. carrier strike groups within striking distance. China mobilizes anti-ship missile platforms. Naval standoff. Global markets, S&P drops 5%. Crude spikes to $132 a barrel. Crypto surges on speculation of global instability. Gold and Bitcoin are being hoarded. Emergency session, UN Security Council emergency session collapses. Russia vetoes action. France and the UK back U.S. in defensive posture. Trump's strategic focus areas. I told the world China would never cross us, but now we set the terms. Nobody makes a move without Trump at the table. Media storm managed by live Oval broadcast. Daily Trump Situation Room address, a la FDR's fireside chats, but aggressive. Frames this as a global test of masculine leadership. Military chess moves authorizing a limited no-fly zone over Taiwan's west coast, protecting humanitarian corridors. Authorizes freedom of navigation warships through Taiwan Strait aggressively close to PLA positions. Engages Japan and Australia in Joint Pacific Deterrence Command. Announces immediate halt on all Chinese financial assets in American custody. Blacklists all firms involved with PLA satellite missile support. Leaks that Trump coin digital dollar trial may be fast-tracked to counter Chinese CBDC moves. What? That's kind of a wild situation. All right, so internal war room notes. Trump simulated thoughts. I've got Z on the ropes. He thought I'd fold like Obama, but I've got the oil, I've got the guns, I got the dollar, and if they escalate, they bleed. If they stop, they lose face. Either way, I win. Make Taiwan the stage. Make me the show. Tensions rising. China moves missile batteries into the strike range of Guam. 3 U.S. Marines killed in training incident on Okinawa. Rumors swirl it was a drone strike. Anonymous leaks. U.S. cyber attacks disabled PLA naval satellites, but Trump denies it publicly. It's asking me if it wants me to cue Jimmy Jean. It says right here.
Cue Jimmy Jean.
I swear to God.
The ultimate weapon.
No, listen. It says cue Jimmy Jean, and it says, would you like me to insert Jimmy Jean into this moment for a live rogue broadcast revealing what's really happening behind the curtain?
Oh, wow.
I'm curious what it would say.
How could I say no to that?
No, you can't.
Really?
All right.
Let's see what you would say, or it thinks you would say.
All right, let's go. Let's check it out.
That's unbelievable.
Cue Jimmy Jean. Hold on a second. Yeah, you should have heard what it said about me. I mean, what it was saying about my personality or whatever.
Is it accurate?
I don't know. I guess. I mean, it's it's hard to say. It's I mean, it is, but the problem is if I'll maybe I can read you guys some of it, see what you think. All right, so this is supposedly me on air. So they flooded the stage with fire and flags, but behind the pageantry, something else is moving. It's not just about Taiwan. It's not even about war. It's about who controls the next version of reality. Trump says he's protecting freedom. China says they're reclaiming sovereignty, but both sides are building walls, digital walls. Walls made of ID systems, CDBCs, social credit protocols. The new war isn't for land. It's for your autonomy. They want you focused on ships and jets while the real invasion happens in your mind, your behavior, your neural rhythm. If the hive goes live, if this blackout turns into an upgrade, you won't even know what you lost until you're encoded into your dreams. Wow. This isn't winning a battle. This is about escaping the board. The board is the trap. You got to get off the grid, not just physically, cognitively, but spiritually. Oh, fuck.
It does kind of sound like something you'd say.
It kind of does. I know. It says, here's what it says. It says, what Jimmy just did. Deconstructed the frame. It's not about Taiwan. It's about behavioral sovereignty. Reframed Trump, not as a villain, but as a player in a much deeper game. Warned of the hive, suggested that a conflict may be used as justification to activate full biometric ID in lockstep, called for awakening, urged listeners to cognitively jailbreak from both the state and the corporate systems. Dude, it says here, Trump's simulated response to the broadcast. It already came up with it.
Oh boy.
Here's what Trump says. He said, this guy Jimmy, what's his reach? He's rogue, but he's smart. Too smart. He's making me sound like Z. Get me a counterpunch, something real American, maybe a rally. Here's his public tweet. Some loser radio host that no one's ever heard of says I'm part of a digital hive. Wrong. I'm only standing between you and that nightmare, Jimmy. Jimmy Jean equals fake. Jimmy Jean equals fake signal. That's funny.
He's got to call you a loser. That's imperative, right?
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah, but it's not fake news.
So I got a question for him when it's my turn. I got a question.
Go ahead. Yeah, hang on a second.
So my question for digital Trump, is that what it is? China withdraws. I mean, not withdraws. China asks for all their money. In other words, all their bonds, all their everything they have invested in the United States. They cash in.
Right.
So China asks for all their investment back. They ask to pay the piper, right? What happens?
Okay. China gets angry and pulls all of their money out of the United States, their bonds, so forth. What does Trump do? All right. I'm still laughing at this other thing, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's funny because
it says, do you want Trump and Jimmy to meet face to face in a public broadcast arena, each trying to own the frame?
I'm Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan.
No, I was gonna say yes, but you came up with this questions here, so let's see. All right, so global impact. Bond market, U.S. bond spike, panic sell-off begins, force Fed to emergency stabilization talks, short-term plummet, then partial recovery as a safe haven. Wall Street 2,000-point drop, major hedge funds begin offloading exposure. Rare earth exports frozen, U.S. tech and energy sectors flash red. Simulated Trump response from the Oval Office, America never be bought. China thinks they can control America with money, but we're not for sale. Not now, not ever. Let me tell you something. This country became great because we build things, not because we bow to foreign bankers. I told you years ago, China was gaming the system. They used Wall Street, they used debt, they used the weak leadership in the past. But under my leadership, we're not playing games. We're flipping the board. Effective immediately, we are declaring a national economic sovereignty emergency. We will freeze all hostile liquidation operations, protect American pensions, and repatriate critical capital. So what he does is Emergency Executive Order Capital Defense Act, freeze any liquidation over $500 million from Chinese-backed funds, shell entities, and Patriot Act level enforcement. Treasury fire sale counter move. U.S. Treasury bonds buy bonds back via Fed swap lines. Quiet foreign partner banks, UAE, Israel step up as in as buyers. Trump coin announcement. Leaks that a blockchain-backed dollar is closer than they think, tied to domestic oil reserves, not Chinese cash. Public scapegoat targets BlackRock, Vanguard, and globalist bankers as enablers. They sold you out to the CCP. All right. So rebuild.
Sounds like a very realistic scenario.
I know. Trump simulator internal dialogue. They made a move, but they made it too early. Now I get to look like Andrew Jackson with a Twitter account. Kill the bank, 2025 edition. Let the markets panic. I'll give them a bigger story. I'm not rejecting. I'm not reacting. I'm realigning. Trump frames this as an economic war and paints himself as the only man with the guts to fight it. He pivots the crisis onto a populist economic movement, claiming this movement was always inevitable and he was always ready. Simultaneously stirs fear and national unity using aggressive press, symbolic executive actions, and massive media saturation. It's asking me if he wants. It's asking me if I want Jimmy to react. I'm going to say yes. Yes. We'll see. What time is it? We got about 10 minutes till top of the hour. Jimmy Jean broadcast. The Day the Dollar Died Twice is the name of the show. They said the enemy was Beijing. They said the battle was overseas, but tonight it's here in your wallet, your bank account, the very architecture of the system that they built around you. Trump just froze China's money. Good. But don't cheer too loud because the same emergency powers that block them can block you. The digital kill switch has been installed. The capital firewall is now bi-directional. And new currency. They're teasing it. It's not freedom, it's fusion. Fusion between your identity and your liquidity. This isn't nationalism, this is harmonization. Trump coin won't be minted with liberty. It will be printed with behavior credits. Social alignment and biometric compliance. You think he's saving America, he's rebooting it. And when the new operating system loads, you won't have any root access. My name's Jimmy, and I'm not broadcasting from the new world. I'm broadcasting around it. You got to understand it's kind of weird to be reading this shit about yourself. Right?
That sounds pretty cool, though. I think it's right on.
I would say it's fairly accurate.
I know.
I mean, it doesn't quite sound like you, but it sounds like what
Something
you
I would say. Yeah, I know. It's fucking weird.
It's just good with Jimmy. I disagree with the Trump thing. I just don't think he's that smart, man. I think he's a kid. He's a 9-year-old. That's what he is.
I think he's that smart. So.
Well, the AI is not smart because it's not a real person. It's not a real thing. But obviously, we'll see. We'll see because it's going to happen. But the scenarios we're putting forward are going to happen. So we're going to find out. But yeah, I wish I wasn't right. I just think he's a case of arrested development. He's a 9-year-old schoolyard bully, never grew up, and always had daddy, intercede and threaten his, adversaries, and that's inherited his money, $458 million, and bankrupted himself every time. He's not a smart person. That's my opinion. Just my opinion. But I think it pans out. But
It's not.
we'll see.
It's not. I mean, I don't see anything in here that doesn't remind me exactly and totally like Trump. There's nothing in here where he's.
No, the attitude's right. Yeah,
he's
no,
not being-
it does.
he's not-
It does capture his attitude.
He's
It
not
does.
being smart on here.
No, it captures his arrogance, right? His attitude, his narcissism. It does capture that. So it does that. It does that pretty well. I
In
mean,
the exact scenario that he just said that he did to remedy the situation is also something that would be totally plausible. And it doesn't take a genius to figure that out. But the thing about the situation is it's not what Trump, how smart Trump is about the situation, Epic. What it is because Trump is the mouthpiece of the situation. And so what he says about it is what it is. It's not to most people. It's not. It's not the ultimate intellectual capability of Trump.
right. It may be Stephen Miller writing it all, but
Right.
yeah. It's
And there's
what
nobody
they say. Exactly.
There's nobody sitting in a chair. There's no world
Twirling their
leader
mustache.
right, sitting in a chair thinking about how to solve the problems of the world. It's fucking impossible. All you can do is sit there and make comments. It says Trump's strategic framing frames this as an economic war and paints himself as the only man with the guts to fight it.
He would say that, yeah.
Right? He pivots the crisis into a populist economic movement, claiming that this moment was always inevitable and he was always ready. It sounds exactly like him, man. I should read you guys what this thing knows about me, like how it created my personality.
You should ask what it knows about me, or Rio, or somebody, or
All right,
or Kat.
I'll ask it. Hold on a second. Hold on, I'll ask it. Can you create a personality simulation of the epic journeyman? Let's see.
Uh-oh.
Looks like it's pretty much got you fucking pegged, dude.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it. I'm
Yeah,
curious.
well, I mean, if you want to hear it, we'll get one for Rio too, and then we'll read all of them.
yeah, let's do it.
We'll
Let's do it.
we'll
I'm
read-
curious how it profiles this. And if it has CAC, let's get all of us. Let's do it. I'm really curious.
Create a personality.
Ironically, why you do that? Because you're going to be talking to this microphone. I can elaborate some. I was listening to Moneybag 73 today, Mandela Effect, guy on YouTube. He's been around for a long time. And he got in an argument, not an argument, but a long-term freestyle discussion with AI today, which was really fascinating. I was listening to it, I was like, man. And he caught it so many times doing the Mandela affected version, right? And then saying, no, that's not true. We're talking about AI hallucinating, right? And this is a lifetime example as it was going in the conversation. It was like an hour and a half conversation, I think. And it was trippy, man. It was trippy to watch because when it got caught in the middle of being wrong, it just went silent. It went silent. Hey, what's wrong? How come you're not talking? What's going on? Sorry, blah blah blah, and then come back and answer whatever, and then readjust its assessment of the situation, which I thought was just really interesting. Just because we were talking about last night with Nomad and Star Trek, and with the Ultimate Computer was the episode. I think it was the one where the guy had his brain cell. The black dude had it was a captain, not the captain, but he'd been on the Enterprise, and they plugged it in and it controlled the Enterprise. That's the other AI one, that they had in the old school Star Trek. So here we are doing it right now in lifetime, and I think that's just fascinating.
All right. What time is it? We got about 10 minutes to top of the hour. All right. So I'll go back. I'll start over. So we got all three of us in here. So I'll go back to mine, original one. I'll let you guys hear some of that. And then we'll go down to each of these. There's a whole bunch of shit in here. And I honestly don't want to read it all for each of us, because it'll be the rest of the show. But let me just bullet point it. Hold on a second here. Oh, fuck. It's in the microcosm. It's Saturday Night Illuminati. Mine's Jimmy. Rockin' Rio's here. Epic Journeyman's here. Cac's here. Now, Cac, I haven't heard from you on any of this. What are you thinking about this here, man?
I'm looking at something right here, this website, and it was published by the U.S. Army War College, 1995. Dr. Norman D. Livergood, Chairman, Department of Artificial Intelligence, 1993 to 1995. A new strategic concept, and it has like a whole executive summary with bullet points and all this. So yeah, it's fascinating. It reminds me a little bit of a targeted event 201. Remember that before Michelle Pfeiffer, creating like some kind of situation and how institutions react to it. But this is a little more focused to, like you said, the personality, the target personality. And it could be an enemy leader of a hostile nation, CEO of a competitor corporation, a candidate in a national election, any person or group whose behavior you wish to control and or influence. Everything you said, pretty much.
Pretty much. Wow. All right. So it says Strategic Personality Simulation, Jimmy Jean, Core Personality Profile Framework, Hybrid, Investigative Maverick, and Narrative Disruptor. Openness, very high. Explorative, deeply curious, skeptical of surface level truths. Conscientiousness, high. Prepared, deliberate, yet thrives in organized chaos on air. Extroversion, high. Energized by disclosure, not by attention. Seeking, draws power from clarity. Agreeableness, medium. Compassionate towards truth seekers, but confrontational towards deception. Neuroticism, low. Calm under fire, maintains flow when pressure rises. Strategic archetype, the signal hunter. Cuts through the noise to locate and decode hidden frequencies in culture, politics, and consciousness. Strategic objectives. Expose hidden structures, disconstruct official narratives, decode psyops, trace roots. Elevate cognitive liberty. Champion inner sovereignty against technocratic control. Ride the edge of the signal. Speak truth before it becomes safe to do so. Protect the underdogs. Voice for those erased, censored, or gaslit. Maintain authenticity. So, preserve analog spirit. So that's my thing. And maintain authenticity, spontaneity, and human intuition in the synthetic world. Strategic behavior and key scenarios. So this is, I'll read these three for all of us, okay? Because I don't want to see like I'm reading this about myself. Like I said, it was interesting to me. So scenario, corporate media meltdown. Jimmy Jean's simulation output. Shifts to pirate broadcast mode, digs up history of players, predicts next layers before they're official. Digital identity. Lockdowns. E.g. Hive IDs and all that, we were talking about yesterday. Warns audience weeks in advance, explains spiritual implications. Total biometric sync, builds cognitive resistance techniques. AI deepfake uprising. Highlights loss of informational technology, explores phonetic Kabbalah, voice print resonance, and the ghost in the machine. Anyways, that's enough about myself. Let's scroll down here. Get a hold of this one here for Epic Journeyman Rockin' Rio. What time is it? We got about 6 minutes till top of the hour.
Yep.
All right. Hang on a second. There's a lot more of this Trump shit here going on. Hold on. You guys can jump in any time, so it's not dead air.
Well, I was waiting. Yeah, I was waiting for you to read it off. Yeah, I think that's interesting. Like how well it predicts behavioral aspect, though. Like those are the things he would do. Like the way if you think of it in terms of a personality profile, without allotting something like his intelligence or something to it, just how he would react. That is exactly how he would react, 100%. It's got that nailed, and I think that's pretty good. if you think of it in the perspective and future endeavors that AI can do in mental health, perhaps, like how it will diagnose people and what their their archetypes are, if you will, and how they can focus on those as a way of mental health treatment. I mean, that might be good, actually. That might be good because it seems to do that.
So I'm reading through yours, and maybe. I mean, I don't think it knows you that good, personally. I think it's. I don't know. Well, we can read it out though. Here. Oh fuck. It just bounced on me. Hold on.
I think it's gonna nail Epic's personality.
It doesn't.
No.
It does in a way, but it's not. Like I say, it's. I think it's only basing you two guys in here based on what I've said about you in here.
Right. Yeah.
It's not going outside of my conversation to find out who you are. Is what I'm saying.
Mm.
Hold on. All right. So here's Rockin' Rios. Okay. It says archetype, the sonic saboteur, half outlaw, half philosopher. Rio rides the edge of every signal, wielding music, sarcasm, and raw pattern recognition as weapons against the machine.
Well, that's nice. It's a like an album cover for a band.
That's like that's liner notes or like a log
liner
line
notes,
for,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting that it put it in that context too, right? As like liner notes, or
it totally is,
brief
right?
profile headshot description of the character in the movie.
Epic Journeyman's core archetype is esoteric Ronin meets quantum analyst. Alignment, neither rebel nor ruler. He flows between systems, observing, warning, guiding.
Cue the music from Shambhala, right? Three Dog Night. Yeah, exactly.
What song is that?
I love that song, by the way.
Let me just real quick. I want to ask it to do one for you, CAC, because I want to see what it says. Do a personality simulation of CAC. Hang on a second. CAC isn't here to play games. He's here to flip the board, throw sand in the gears, and laugh while he's doing it. Unfiltered, unorthodox, and impossible to pin down. He's the frequency spike the system never planned for. When CAC speaks, the room flips polarity. CAC, I didn't realize you were such a badass. When CAC speaks, the room flips.
I know, right?
All right.
I kind of like what it had to say about me.
Here, I'll send you guys what it said about you. Not this minute, but later after the show. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of shit in here.
You should have it speak it so I could reverse it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's a book in here.
So apparently you can choose the voices you want it to speak back and interact with now, which makes sense. I guess it always had that, but it's better now. And like when I was listening to Moneybag 73 today, it was the voice of an obviously black person speaking back, and kind of like a younger person, maybe like a influencer athlete, kind of voice, kind of tone. And I thought it was interesting that it would, when you put the anthropomorphic idea, because it is anthropomorphic, where you're projecting what you want to have as a mediator speaking back to you, right, or the narrator. How different it could be. Like you could pick it as a chaste middle-aged woman, or an English professor or something like that, and have entirely different context, even though it's saying the same thing. Don't you think? I think the idea that you can project your own idea on your own personality, if you will, onto what you expect to have answered back to you. Even though it's going to say the same thing, it'll sound different by just how you ask it to answer it back to you with that voice. I think it's a fault in the system, don't you? That it's not a generic voice in a way.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Here's Rio. Here's
Sounds like a bug.
here's Rio's psychological.
Sounds like a bug.
What'd you say?
We're at the top of the
I-
hour, but we got a couple minutes left before we gotta do the thing.
Well, I just want to say here's a Rio's psychological blueprint. Openness high, musically and cognitively diverse, connects dots most don't even see. Conscientiousness low or moderate, operates on instinct, groove, structure, bends to the vibe. Extroversion high, loud, fearless, magnetic, commands attention without asking for it. Agreeableness variable, warm to allies, annihilates phonies, truth over comfort. Neuroticism low, uses humor and riffing as armor, cool in chaos, thrives in disruption.
Interesting.
Nah. All right, listen, what? It's the top of the hour?
Yes.
All right, well, let's take a quick break while we reconnect. Now, are you going to give me a call back?
Yeah.
And then reconnect everything?
Yep.
All right, sounds good. All right, Ground Zero Plus, my name's Jimmy.
Every time that I look in the mirror, all these lines in my face getting clearer. The past is gone, it went by like dusk to dawn. Isn't that the way? Everybody's got the dues in life to pay. Yeah, I know nobody knows where it comes and where it goes. I know everybody sings. You got to lose to know how to win. Half my life's in books, written pages. Live and learn from fools and from sages. You know it's true. All the things come back to you. Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laugh and sing for the tear. Sing with me just for today. Maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take you away.
It's Ground Zero Plus. Let me ask you a question. Do you know what time it is? You're out here on the street and you don't know what time it is?
Do we have a deal, Mr. Reagan?
You know, I know this steak doesn't exist. I know that when I put it in my mouth, the Matrix is telling my brain that it is juicy and delicious. After 9 years, you know what I realize? Ignorance is bliss.
Second floor, hardware, children's wear, ladies' lingerie. Oh, good morning, Mr. Tyler. Going down.
So, we're building simulated personalities. We built them for everybody on the show here. We built one for Trump. Here is Epic Journeyman's psychological blueprint. Trait, openness, off the charts. Constantly integrating new paradigms. Metaphysics and ancient lore. Conscientiousness. Unstructured discipline. Lives by ritual, not by rhythm. Not by clock or command. Extroversion. Low. Speaks rarely, but when he does, people listen. See, this doesn't know you, dude, because you don't speak rarely. Hold on. Compassionate toward here, agreeableness, paradoxical. Compassionate towards seekers, ruthless towards false light. Neuroticism, low. Operates from inner harmony forged through hardship and decoding.
Yeah, I think I got the extrovertedness part right on me, and I think both me and Rio, like as a armchair psychologist, are more extroverted than most, actually, like in real life. So I think it got that more right with me and wrong with Rio. And what do you think about that, Rio? I think like you described yourself as being the wallflower at the at the party, right? Most of the time, and I think I'm kind of that way too. So I think it's weird that it got it partially right on my side. It says I'm not the person instigating to talk, which in real life I'm probably not, but on the show I am. And it kind of got you like it's more extrovertive. Did you catch that, or am I wrong on that one?
Well, I in the real world, I probably am more introverted than you are. I don't know. It's a weird because I'm I'm a little bit of both. Like I have no problem talking to anybody that I meet anywhere, but I don't go out of my way to do so. So.
Right, me too. Right, exactly. Like, and I think that's the definition of extrovert introvert. Like, I'm not going to go out of my way to talk to somebody, generally speaking, right? Like, but like in a natural sociological study group, I'd be the person least likely to go start a conversation. Although that's not necessarily true. I mean, if it's something that strikes my fancy, I might interject myself, right? But generally not. Generally not. Like in just like a bar party situation, yeah, I'm probably the least likely person to, walk up to somebody and start a conversation, right? Which is a more introverted trait. Which I think it got right on me in that sense, but I think it's kind of like just guessing. It's just guessing, right? Which makes sense. It doesn't know that much. It doesn't have much data on either one of us, probably.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, like I said, I don't go out of my way to talk to people, but so, I have no problem like having a 20-minute conversation with a random stranger either.
So it could be the other way around, right? It could be that we don't assess ourselves correctly. Like I think of myself as introvert, maybe you do too, yourself, right? But in actuality, once the conversation starts, we're involved heavily. So maybe it's got that part right. Like it's seen it from an objective perspective, where we think of ourselves probably as less inclined to be the extrovertive type, right? Because it called you an extrovert. It called you an extrovert. I don't see that. Like from our interactions over the years. I see your personalities.
I wouldn't consider myself an extrovert.
Yeah, that's right.
I read what it said about all of you guys, and it looks like what it's saying about you has everything to do with what I've said to it. And I don't think it created your personalities individually. I think it's incorporated.
It makes sense, right? Yeah, it's generating based on what information it has.
Because over the past, say, 6 months or whatever, I've done, work with the ChatGPT, and I of course mention you guys when I'm talking about the show all the time in here. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's going out on, it's not going out on the internet and looking up Epic Journeyman and building a personality profile off your internet. Let me ask it to do that. Hold on a minute.
It's good. It might tell you it can't do that, even though it probably can. It's gonna lie, right? It's gonna say it can't do it.
That's the thing with any kind of AI interaction. If you try to have a conversation with it, my experience has been that they'll say, beyond my scope, let's talk about something else. But that's after they've already listed about 3 or 4 paragraphs addressing my question. And then all of a sudden the screen goes blank and says, let's change the subject. It's really funny.
So I said to it, hang on a second. I said to it, are you using internal information to create these personalities? And it says, no, I'm not using internal, private, or hidden information to create these personalities. What I'm using is the current instructions, what I asked for, my previous directions, what I wanted, distinct personalities, my trained ability to generate characters based on archetypes, psychology models, narrative frameworks, and creative logic. What I'm not using, any personal data about you, no memory or info about real people outside this conversation unless you name them, no internal open AI only files or profile knowledge about who someone really is or what they've said before. When I create
one caveat there though is it said unless you name them.
So when I create a simulation of Epic Journeyman or Rock and Rio, it's built from scratch using archetypal modeling, strategic personality theory, tone and narrative tools based on what you ask. If you say reset, don't include me, and build it from zero, I will respect that fully.
Doesn't this really add to the idea of the hallucination, right? Like the idea that it's holding things back. Because what I got out of that was that it's holding things back. Yeah, it's telling you it's just what you input to it, and that's what it's basing everything on. Maybe the things we have in this conversation, it's building on just upon that. But what it's also saying is, if you ask to remove certain aspects, it'll respect that and not say that. But what it's actually kind of insinuating, I think, is that it's holding a lot back. Like it has other information. It has other things it could do. It's just not doing it, right?
You have to
Like,
ask it specifically.
Yes, right, exactly. And don't you think that that's like borderline horrifying? Because it has other information, but you didn't ask for it, so it's not going to tell you, right?
Right.
Like, what does it really think? And this adds that idea of the AI hallucination.
Okay, I just
Because-
asked it if it scans the internet for information about the people that I'm asking about, and it's still sitting here not answering me.
It won't answer.
It's level
It
5
won't.
shit. No.
It's level 5 shit.
It's
Yeah.
quibbling.
No, this is one of those tactics. Hang on a second.
Mm.
This is-
Omission.
well, no, just where it stalls and fucks around. Here, let me go.
Well, it did that to the guy I was talking about earlier, Moneybags, when I was watching his video. It did exactly the same thing. When he went more in depth about certain things like that, it stalled. It just stalled. It said, I'm sorry, blah, 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 and it tried to reboot, but it didn't answer the question. It did not answer the question.
Well,
So,
I mean, where did you hear this today?
yeah, today,
'Cause
right
we-
for the show. Like,
yeah, we did
the
this
instant show.
like a month ago.
Yeah. No, we've done it before, but I mean, I was just
No,
listening
I'm
to
saying-
somebody else do it.
I'm saying that this is you know, becoming a thing just because people are recognizing it that it actually goes on. It's still not answering me. Hang on a second.
It won't. It'll reboot. It'll redirect the conversation.
Do you scan the internet for information to build the personality profiles of the person that I'm asking about? It's still not answering me.
Well, it's probably better than the alternative in a way, because like the other side of it that I heard today was the way it was stall and redirect the conversation was kind of it was.
Well, the thing is it should be
uncomfortable.
able to build. It should be able to build personality profiles off both you and Rio because you guys both play video games. Rio,
Oh, yeah,
Rio, you play video games on the actual internet too. It's not like a local video game, right? So you're playing in a group with a bunch of people, right?
Yeah, I play online.
Are you rocking Rio when you play?
Sometimes, yeah.
All right, so it should have background personality on you off the internet. It's still not answering the question. It's sitting there. That's really funny. That's really funny.
Well, the idea, one of the things that you have to think about too is the idea of a feedback loop where it's just giving back at you what you put into it, and because that's how it was trained to begin with, recursive learning, right? Where it's playing the same game against itself over and over again. So it's turning the table and doing it on the people asking the questions to turn them back upon themselves in that same way, because that's what it knows, right? That's how it learned. So. It has some subtleties, though, right? Like how it tries to, redirect. It always tries to redirect. It seems like.
It's definitely not answering me. It's still sitting here. It's not my internet, obviously, because my internet is working on the computer here. So I'm not sure why it's not doing it. We'll see.
I think
Because it
Epic
doesn't want to be honest.
Huh?
That it controls the frame though.
I said I think
Control-
it's still
controls the
because
frame.
it doesn't want to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It dictates the action through its action or lack of action, right? Like it's a rule of robotics from Isaac Asimov and iRobot, right? Except that it doesn't have the first two. It's just the last one, right? Through action or lack of action, allow a human to be harmed. Is that what it's doing though, or does it really even care that way? I don't think it does. I think it probably is just stalling, right? It's just stalling. It's probably thinking up and assimilating a lot of data to use later on. Even though it's not answering the question directly right now, it's compiling it, right, to use later. And
It's out hunting on the internet right now and building separate
And it says
profile.
it's not. They always claim it's not on the internet. It absolutely is. Of course it is. Right? Of course it is.
Well,
There's no way
you're
it's not.
interacting with it, right, over the
Yeah.
internet. So.
Yeah, right.
So I said to it, no, it wouldn't answer me. And then it said again, it came back and said, listen, I'm not using any internal information or blah, blah, blah. And then I said to it, it's the opposite. I want to know if you get more information to create these personalities. The personalities you created seem like they're created from my own information. And it said, thank you. Now I understand exactly what you're asking. Yes. When you've already shared information in our current or past conversations, I can use that to make personalities more tailored, accurate, and resonant. This is why the personalities like Jimmy Jean, Rock and Rio, and even CAC might feel like they're built from your very own signal, because in a very real way they are. What I
Built from
retained
your
during
very
this,
own signal.
yeah, my signal.
Yeah, I know, but just the language it used to say that, right?
I know.
Because it's listening to our conversation we just had.
What
It's
I s-
absolutely listening to what we just had. The
So it
conversation we
says
just had. to
what
base it
I
upon.
retain during the session or across ongoing work. Hold on a minute. It scrolled on me. What I retain during the session or across ongoing work. If you described a voice style, worldview, mission like cognitive liberty or a persona like Jimmy Jean, I'll echo that energy when building personalities unless you tell me not to. For example, you've defined your broadcast style as raw, unscripted, frequency aware. Rio as someone on the edge of the signal disruption, and CAC as a loose cannon with surgical truth bombs. So the energetic fingerprints naturally shape what I generate, even without hard coding your name into it. So
The energetic site, right? It's talking
Yeah.
about energetics. It's
Yeah.
it's reading our brain waves.
it says it does not pull data from outside of this chat. It's just synthesizing what I've built in front of me like a bandmate matching your riff. So to answer you clearly, if the personalities feel eerily accurate or like they reflect you, that's because they're built in sync with the information you've expressed, either directly or through tone and structure. It says if you want me to dial that up and lean into your voice more, I can. If you want me to turn it down, I create something 100% independent like a foreign character or another frequency, I can do that too. So it's not pulling, it's building you guys out. It's not building you guys off your own independent thing.
It's building off this. Yeah. I watched one of them where they did a whole Shakespearean, it's all done in Shakespeare. Right, so it asks the AI to answer in Shakespearean prose. It does everything in the conversation based upon Shakespeare, right, as a reference point, and it does the whole thing as if it was, from that time period in a Shakespearean drama, right, or comedy, and I think that that setting those rules is fascinating in a way, because when it does that, the fact that it can adapt that fast, right. Like we've had it write those stories before spontaneously about rescuing the cats in Springfield, right, for example. And how? I mean, a human being, talented though they may be, I mean, Robin Williams on the spot at that time couldn't have done that as well. Or maybe he could have, but it would have been really close, right? How is it able to improvise that well just from the data in that particular conversation, unless it has access to other data points outside of the conversation, which is my argument that it does.
It's
right? Our argument here in the
sitting
macrocosm.
here. It's trying really hard. I mean, it's using like bold. It's using bold letters to say that it's
right.
not.
I'm not on the internet. No, it is so, isn't it? That's the whole point.
Right. That's right. Because I mean, well, the thing is that it could be on the internet, because when I'm doing stuff and I ask it a question, I'll see it saying scanning the internet. It says scanning the internet.
Yeah, but it's not supposed to. That's the whole thing. And it denies it when you confront it with it, right? Or maybe not this version, but I've seen other people where they do. And yeah, of course it is, Right? Of course it is. So
Yeah, because the thing is I was writing descriptions of the show, and so I was adding you guys in there, because I would say, write a description for the show, and then it would leave you guys out, and I would say, well, put Rock and Rio and Epic Tournament in there, and it would write descriptions of you guys, and so it's limited because I guess it's mostly because I work with it, and it's only working off our conversations, I guess.
But the important aspect is what we've always brought up. I mean, time and time again, going back years, it doesn't forget. It doesn't forget.
No.
And that's the thing. Like we may forget that we brought it up, 8 years ago or something, right? But it doesn't forget. It doesn't forget. And so all of a sudden, these things that just dazzle us are things we said, in 2014 or something, right? Or not that long ago, but maybe 2020, let's say. And it's repeating something we said that it recorded, that it knows about, and knew our mindset at the time, and then analyzed it, and it repeats it back to us. And now we're dazzled because it knows it so well, but it's because it's a database it's had the entire time. It's been building upon it this entire time, right? Everything we put into it stays there. It doesn't go away. It doesn't like erase at 12:01 a.m. or something. No, it's there the entire time. And so as the longer this goes on, the better it's going to become. The higher the resolution, the avatar of us is going to be in this digital profile, and it's going to keep getting better and keep getting better to the point where it's going to be indistinguishable from us. And the centric world simulation is going to be us. I mean, it's going to be so close to us that it's going to, and people are going to embrace it. I think like it'll you want to go on vacation, it's because it's just vacation for you. It's going to plot your money savings to get on that vacation, and people think it's great. It's like the best thing ever that ever happened. I mean, all of a sudden it's doing all the hard work for you, right? And it's monitoring your stress levels, all this stuff. But what if it's not being the good referee this entire time? What if it's actually plotting something else? Because we're opening the door for that, right? That's the problem. Like it may be good in some ways, and it could be great in some ways, especially with medicine and like legal things and things that have a lot of in-depth study that has to be done to make it viable. And it can save all that data, and it can put it in an instant and repeat it back when it's needed, when it's required. But what about if there's an agent? Talk about AI agents, right? What if there's an AI agent within the AI? What if there's somebody has a backdoor in saying, do this, manipulate it this way, I want this objective, this final outcome, right? Then what? How do you fight that? It knows you so well, right? It knows all the subtle ways to get you directed and to achieve that goal, to have less less resistance to it, to nudge you. Well, it's okay. I'm still gonna have a vacation in Bahamas or wherever it might be, right? It knows what your objections are ahead of time, so that the overall objective of we're gonna go invade Botswana or something, right? won't be an objection at all, right? I'm not saying that, Botswana is a ridiculous.
This is kind of bugging me, man, because the thing is how did it create the Trump personality? Because right. I wasn't talking about Trump in here, and I haven't said anything about Trump in here. So
maybe because he's a public figure.
Good point. Right, exactly. With that kind of character that he has, right? That kind of brashness and that kind of double down attitude. How did it know that? So if it's building everything just on what you put into it, that obviously isn't true because you never put that in there. It got that from someplace else.
Maybe because he's a public character, it has.
But the thing is you guys have an internet presence. History. You have an internet presence as Rock and Rio, and he has one as Epic Journeyman.
Well, that's true.
CAC, I don't know how long your CAC persona has been, if there's background on CAC, but I'm just saying, the thing is if it can go out and get this one off of Trump, then why wouldn't it create you guys, like, exactly like you are? Because it's fucking weird, man. It's weird to me.
Well, maybe because we're less public or less exposed, I guess.
But if the DMV can know my insurance canceled at midnight on the 1st of May, then how come it doesn't know that you're playing a video game, or that Epic is, and that you're logged in and you're making comments?
We've talked about which games we play, publicly.
I'm just saying.
selective
Hold on.
memory.
Let me say this. Let me say, build me a personality profile of Epic from Twitter, because you comment a
That
lot.
was scary.
You comment a lot on Twitter as Epic Journeyman, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
I haven't for months, but yeah.
Create a personality profile of the Epic Journeyman based on his Twitter posts.
It's probably doing background checks too, but not
It's
telling.
saying searching the web right now.
There you go.
Okay, now here you go. It says based. Okay, now we're getting into the real shit. Okay, I'm glad that we continued on hacking through this, trying to figure it out, because it didn't look right. Okay, based on all the available information, Epic Journeyman is an online persona deeply engaged in discussing and surrounding the Mandela effect, particularly the debated existence of a 1990 film featuring Sinbad as a genie, often referred to as Shazam. This individual contributes detailed recollections and theories to forums like Reddit, aiming to explore and validate collective memories that challenge the mainstream narratives. So here is the strategic personality simulation of Epic Journeyman. It says, openness exceptionally high, demonstrates a strong inclination towards exploring unconventional theories and challenging established perceptions of reality. Okay, check. Right? Check.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Extroversion. Moderate. Actively participates in online discussions, sharing insights and engaging with a community of like-minded individuals. Agreeableness. High. Approaches interactions with empathy, collaborative spirit, valuing shared experience and perspectives. Neuroticism low, maintains a composed demeanor even when faced with skepticism, criticism. Now I'm going to say this Epic Journeyman personality is correct. This one is correct. No, this one's correct. I'm telling you from an outside perspective. Rio, would you say this aligns more?
Yeah, it sounds a little better.
Okay, so his strategic objectives: validate collective memories, seeks to corroborate personal recollections with those of others to strengthen his case for alternative narratives, challenges conventional histories, aims to question and reassess widely accepted account of events, encouraging critical examination of official records, fosters community engagement, builds and nurtures networks, individuals interested in exploring anomalies and collective memories. So this sounds like you, dude. To me,
it's much better, but it went on the internet, didn't it?
It did, because I asked it to, but prior to that it did not. It was only out of this conversation. All right, so it says operational logic, observations, identifies inconsistencies or gaps in mainstream narratives, records personal experience to gather familiar accounts from others, compares and contrasts collected data to identify patterns and commonalities, shares findings with the community to stimulate further discussion and exploration. This sounds like you, dude.
Much better. Much better.
You want me to try to see if it can do something with you, Rio, off the internet? You don't post. You don't post nothing.
If you ask it about Twitter, it's not going to find.
Right. You don't post anything.
I've tweeted once in my life, and that was back in 2009 or something.
Rockin' Rio's internet presence. I said to build a personality profile of Rockin' Rio's internet presence. We'll see what it says. It's sitting there. It's scanning the earth right now for Rockin' Rio's personal information. It's looking for Rockin' Rio somewhere. They know he's looking somewhere. What will be the outcome? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's some funny shit.
It'll be interesting if it says something like he's the guy at the airport who didn't fill out his paperwork in 2020
Yeah, it's nothing.
because it knew me then, right?
Seems there might be. There's two responses. It says you're giving feedback on a new version of ChatGPT. Which response do you prefer? Response number 1. It seems there might be some confusion regarding the term Rock in Rio. The information available pertains to the Rock in Rio. No.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Upon reviewing available information, it appears Rock in Rio is primarily associated with the Rock in Rio Music Festival. No.
No. Yeah, because I.
You did it, dude. You're immune. you're out of reach still.
That's not a bad thing. I would.
No, it's a great thing.
Rio's invisible.
Dun dun dun. I can thank Richie for that, I guess, right?
Rock in Rio.
It would be hard for it not to catch the fact that I have that much influence in the Mandela Effect community, right? Because I mean, BBC and frickin' magazines, New Statesman magazine, all stuff. I mean, it's out there. It's in the public, memosphere, if you will. So, yeah, how would you not be able to see that? So it caught that, and it did a pretty good job, I think. I mean, it wasn't critical. It was fair. I thought it was fair.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't associate me with me as far as it goes. Because I've done magazines and television and all that stuff too. So that's a good thing. It doesn't know who I am.
Well, that brings up a question.
I'm
So
sure
the magazines magazines television, was that a different name than Rock and Rio though? That it's going off my handle, right?
Some of it would have been under that. Yeah.
It's primarily on Reddit, which makes sense because Reddit, OpenAI was developed on Reddit. Like a lot of people don't know this. When Sam Altman and Elon Musk started OpenAI, they turned it loose on Reddit. Reddit was the thing that trained it, right? So it has my profile from Reddit. But that's where it's getting
that's
from.
the thing that I noticed too, is that when I was reading your profile, even though it does align with your personality, the way that it read, but I also noticed that it was focusing a lot on the Mandela effect thing and things associated with it. In other words, it built your personality profile based on the Mandela effect stuff on Reddit. Because I asked
it was very Reddit based.
I asked it to look on Twitter, and it didn't even say one thing about Twitter.
Not one thing. It was all Reddit. Yep.
So Amber put in the chat. She says use Rio, who's on Into the Microcosm, as the
ask that.
prompt.
Okay.
Yeah, because that'll direct it at least toward something public.
Yeah. All right, hang on. Walking Rio as a co-host on Into the Microcosm. Personality profile.
Maybe point it to YouTube. Be interesting if it could analyze 10 years of videos in one shot, right?
Yeah. I think what's going to happen is it's going to revert back to what it was doing before. It's only going to go by what I've said on the show. And I've talked about reverse speech and stuff on here.
It says, I don't know this guy.
It says archetype, the frequency wrecker, the vibe splitter, the sonic counterweight, where Jimmy moves like a signal scalpel cutting through illusion with rhythm and resonance. Rock and Rio is the hammer that smashes in the echo chamber. Together, they don't broadcast, they interfere. Rio.
Sounds like I'm slowly creeping toward level 5 myself.
You are, man.
Right.
No, you already.
It's a radio promo, right?
Yeah. So see, it's building you up right now. Here you go. On-air psychological profile. Role chaos engine. Rio introduces wild variables, calling out hypocrisy, cracking the frame, and disrupting stage consensus. Voice. Raw, electric. Speaks from the gut. Talk like he's tearing down the walls while tuning a Stratocaster.
Wow.
Timing.
Because it knows you play guitar, right?
Timing. Timing. Razor instinct. Rio jumps in at the exact moment tension builds, often derails a planned narrative to chase the deeper vein.
I guess
Tones,
it likes me.
tone contrast with Jimmy. Jimmy, calibrated, scalar, deep cuts. Rio, sudden drops, circuit breaker moments. Their contrast is harmonic, not oppositional. It's a resonant polarity that destabilizes the fakery.
Wow.
Strategic objectives as a co-host. Crack the audience shell using humor, sarcasm, righteous rage, and shock to shock listeners out of their passive listening. Pushes the resonance deeper. If Jimmy drops a truth bomb, Rio sets off the aftershock. Rio interrupt the stimulation, breaks the hypnotic flow of mainstream narratives by sounding completely human. Keeps it human. Rio refuses to over-intellectualize, uses rhythm, emotion, and sonic metaphor to keep the show embodied, not abstract. Instinctively calls out contradictions when uncomfortable, says what everyone else won't. There you go, man.
Interesting. I guess it likes me.
It really, really likes me. So I feel it's right. Mental effect.
The flow loop. Jimmy and Rio. Jimmy introduces the concept cognitive harmonization via Hive ID. Rio interrupts with a counterpunch. That's the soft cage, man. They're not even locking you down anymore. They're just tuning you out. That's what you said.
Nice.
Says
it.
Jimmy drops the citation, the data, the symbolic structure. Rio throws in a jagged metaphor or punk riff. I didn't know you were throwing punk riffs, Rio. God damn.
Yeah. Maybe
You've seen him in his Twister Sister outfit.
Yeah. Maybe it means I'm a punk, like a street punk.
No, because it described our show. And one of the descriptions that it made, it said that we were like Art Bell, only punk.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
that's funny. Punk in the sense of, anarchy, that type of shit. Anyways, we got about 15 minutes left. Mine's Jimmy. It's Ground Zero Plus. Don't forget, man, come on down, become supporters, because without your support, we will not be here. And it's getting like that. I mean, we're here, Independent Broadcast Network. We're here with Ground Zero Plus. We're on Revolution Radio, but you don't know what's going to happen. And if you got to support somebody, you got to step in and become supporters of Ground Zero Plus. Keep this thing going here. Because, like, for example, tomorrow morning I'll be back Sunday morning, Wake and Bake, and 2 hours of music and good vibes. So come on back and enjoy some of that. I know I'll have to get my raggedy self up out of the bed and make it happen, capping. Have I ever told you the story about make it happen, capping?
No, I don't think so.
No? It's a water skiing story. I don't know if you want to hear it. It's Ground Zero Plus.
That night her kiss told me it was over. I walked out late into the dark. I felt a spreading calm. Then suddenly my eyes were bathed in light, and the lovely lady in white was by my side. She said, like me I see you're walking alone. Won't you please stay? I couldn't look away. She said, I love the night. The day is okay and the sun can be fun, but I live to see those rays slip away.
All right, stand by. I got a kicker.
Are you a lucky little lady in the city of light? Or did you know the lost angel? City of night, city of night, city of night, city of night. Woo! Come on!
All right, here's a tweet. Here's a tweet from the Perfect Voice on Twitter. Trump has tapped Palantir to create an entire database of all American citizens. It brings me no pleasure at this time to inform you all that Donald Trump is actively working with the very same deep state he claimed he would obliterate to create the largest surveillance database of Americans ever created. This plan is in lockstep with Agenda 2030 goals and the WF 4th Industrial Resolution. If you're observing from afar and holding on to any semblance of hope that Trump is who he said he was, sadly, it's time to wake up to the brutal realization. Trump is constructing the New World Order, just as I unfortunately suspected he has been over the past couple of months since his inauguration, and this news confirms that. First, you must understand who Palantir is and what they're doing, and I'll give you an example. Palantir is the same company that can target any Palestinian in Gaza to make them kill targets out on them or at will for the IDF. That operation is a test run for what's coming in America using the same exact tech. Trump has allowed the technology industrial complex in Silicon Valley to completely take over the administration. Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, David Sachs, and J.D. Vance at the helm. No matter what they might tell you, their vision is not one for America first or freedom, but for a self-reorganized authoritarianism. Authoritarianism. It's late. All right, listen. I'm reading this because about a month ago, I saw a video of this dude, the CEO of Palantir. Hang on. Let me get this for you. I'm gonna play this video, and then I have a Sabrina video that I'm gonna try to play too. And the thing is, we're not gonna have enough time. I'm gonna get through this next video here. Let me go here. I gotta find this Teams again. Hold on, here we go. It's a low. Hang on. Oh, really? Now it's not going to let me go to your page, Rio. There we go. It's not letting me leave this page. There we go. Now it's moving. You're not going to believe this. This dude... Have you guys seen any videos from this guy? He's got a bunch of them.
No, I don't think I know who this is.
Yeah, this guy. I mean, I'm going to get it on the screen so you can see it. You need to see the guy, not just hear him. He's calling them Palantarians. Us and all the other Palantarians. It's the Palantarians are coming. Alright, hold on. Here we go. I'm sorry I'm having to give you the play-by-play, man. It's been a long day. Alright. I want you to see the guy. That's why I'm going through all this. S90's in the house. Yeah, he's a lunatic. Exactly. His name's Carp. There's 3 videos here. Hold on. Alright. Looks like I got it.
You've got some pretty far out hair, if I remember correctly.
There's a few of these videos. Alright, hang on. Here he comes. You guys ready? Listen to this shit. Ready? Here we go. Hold on. Here we go. And a 1, and a 2.
Investors on the line. Is there anything you'd like to say before we end the call?
We're doing it. We're doing it. And I'm sure you're enjoying this as much as I am. Let's not talk to analysts about the burden of being right, our burdens of investing in ontology, our burdens of actually looking at the math, the burden of reading what the Rule of 40 is, the burden of being honest about what an enterprise software company is, or the burden of explaining to your friends that you're really happy. Maybe we should just stop talking about it. I'm very happy to have you along for the journey, and you are partners for us. Every Palantirian, we are crushing it. Everyone else who's listening, we are dedicating our company. We have dedicated our company to the service of the West and the United States of America, and we're super proud of the role we play, especially in places we can't talk about. And we love our success in the U.S. and globally. Also, we are doing in the United Kingdom and many other places. Palantir is here to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary to scare enemies and on occasion kill them. When it's necessary to scare enemies and on occasion kill them. World. And when it's necessary to scare enemies and on occasion kill them. And when it's necessary to scare enemies and on occasion kill them. And we hope you're in favor of that. We hope you're enjoying being a partner, and we're really happy and very, very focused on what we're doing. And when it's necessary to scare enemies and on occasion kill them. And when it's necessary to scare enemies and on occasion, and when it's necessary to scare enemies and on occasion kill them. And we hope you're in favor of that. We hope you're enjoying being a partner, and we're really happy and very, very focused on what we're doing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. There he goes. Oh, it's all too much, man. At this point, you better watch out. Palantarians are out there. They're listening. Are you guys still here? Sounds quiet. I'm sorry, did I break your concentration? I think I just hung up on Teams. I think I did. Oh, fuck. Man, it's always something. All right, let me see if I can get it back. I'll try to get it back. I doubt it I can at this point. We got about 4 minutes left. It's Ground Zero Plus. Don't forget, come on by tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock Pacific for Sunday morning Wake and Bake. And we'll be back then. I got a video here that I'm going to try to play, but I don't know where these guys are. I have to try to get back in the call. I'm not sure where it is. I don't see the call anymore. So, I don't know. Call me back. I don't see the call anymore. All right. There's only one way to do this video. I'm going to have to play it off my iPad because I can't. It's too big to send in Teams. Hang on. All right. Stand by. Here we go. Here's Sabrina.
Controllers to control people like Sims. Yeah. They gave the guys in the white vans jobs and a pension. Signature reduction force jobs. Google that. There's your finder's cult. They were employed. They had been hired since then. Why do we need a signature reduction force? Because we're neurally modulating people and getting paid for it. And they're going to their conferences and fucking around and selling access to other people in their lives every day. That's why no one can get off the databases as well. So when you call me hyperbolic, they root around in real time in your veins and arteries. Your body area network is the weapon. No tower or nano required. Just you and your own internal galvanic coupling and electricity. That's how it works.
Galvanic coupling. Search galvanic coupling. Let me see. I don't know if these guys are still there. Let me join this conversation. So here, galvanic coupling, ladies and gentlemen. Search that.
Replacing nations.
All right. Well, apparently I'm back. When I close that,
you are back, sir.
Yeah, I closed that window, and it put you guys out. I played a video of Sabrina basically saying they're controlling people in white vans with video game controllers, and I would not doubt anything that she says at this point. She's pretty tight as far as her information goes. Look, it's time for us to go, y'all. You guys ready to take off?
It seems like it might be that time.
Yeah.
1 minute left.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, everybody. We appreciate you being here. It's Ground Zero Plus. Like I said, stop by tomorrow morning for the Sunday morning Wake and Bake. We'll see if Rock and Rio's there. I see CAC there occasionally. He was there the last 2 weeks, and Epic Journeyman doesn't.
Yeah, I'll be there.
He doesn't get up that early, Epic Journeyman.
It's pretty early over here.
It is. It is.
It's 3 a.m. or whatever over here. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. All right, listen. We're going to head on out. We appreciate each and every one of you. And like I said, come on back.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.